How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Lots to talk about here today. It's a Thursday, and it's a very special Thursday as the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards are out. If you're a subscriber, probably have seen them by now. If not, head up there and check them out. We got a Wrestler of the Year, MVP in both pro wrestling and mixed martial arts. Most Outstanding. We've got all of the new regional awards. What do you think of the regional awards? We can talk about all of that today on the show. The usual Wednesday night Wrestling Observer Radio. Dave didn't finish the Observer until 5:45 a.m. Eastern. And so we did not record last night. But the moment the show goes off the air, Dave and I will be recording a show for subscribers with all of the news and thoughts on the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Award. So that's coming up later on today. And in the meantime, your chance to give your thoughts on all of this. We've got the Observer Awards. We have the NXT tapings from last night. We have new matches for WrestleMania. And, yes, last night they announced what they were doing with the NXT title since Tommaso Ciampa had to vacate it as a result of neck surgery. And without giving away spoilers, I can say it's not going to be a ladder match. And it's also not going to be a tournament. We'll tell you what they decided to do. Won't tell you how it ended up, but we'll tell you what they decided to do. And you'll be able to watch that here on NXT TV in a couple of weeks. And that's the plan. Chelsea Green undergoing surgery, wrist injury at NXT tapings on Wednesday night. It was her debut for NXT, and she immediately broke her wrist in the middle of the match. So she'll have to undergo surgery for that. And a bunch of other notes from the tapings as well. Won't give too many spoilers here, and if we do, we will alert you in advance. If you want to give us a call here today, 844-411-5411. That is toll-free, 844-411-5411. Text messages, 425-780-7566. Mike Sempervive joins us after the break as well. Your chance today to give us your thoughts on a wide variety of different topics here. So, back in a moment, Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Not sure where Mike Sempervive is. We'll try to figure that out as we go along here today, but you can co-host if he does not appear here today. We got a lot to get into, including the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards. If you want to check them out, you can do so by heading up to WrestlingObserver.com, available only for subscribers, and we'll go over some of them here and get your thoughts as well. So, the Observer Awards this year, of course, my computer gets all messed up here and I can't find it, but Kenny Omega won the Wrestler of the Year this year. Last year he came in second, and this year he pulled it off. So Kenny Omega, the Wrestler of the Year. I'm going to find the rest of them here at some point. If only I had a website in which this was easily accessible. All right, here we go. Lou Thesz, Ric Flair, Wrestler of the Year Award. Kenny Omega, 642 first place votes. Second place, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Third place, Kazuchika Okada. Fourth place, LA Park. Fifth place, Becky Lynch. Kenny Omega winning the award here. And, of course, he had an excellent year. IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Bunch of incredible matches. Most people thought it was going to come down to either him or Hiroshi Tanahashi. And Kenny Omega got it this year. And what's interesting is now he is awaiting the debut of All Elite Wrestling. And they've got, of course, their big event coming up over Memorial Day weekend, and another show coming up in July, and I'm sure probably another one coming up in early September, but no television, and they're not running a ton of events. And so this is one of many examples in the awards this year where it's going to be very, very difficult for somebody to win another year in a row. It'd be very difficult for Kenny Omega to win 2 years in a row just because of the schedule right now for All Elite Wrestling. MMA Most Valuable, Conor McGregor won, beating Daniel Cormier, who actually got more first-place votes. But adding up all of the votes together, Conor McGregor beats Daniel Cormier, Khabib in third place. And if you consider the one fight that Conor McGregor did in all of 2018, which did 2.4 million buys on pay-per-view for Khabib, which was the record, UFC record for any non-boxing pay-per-view, well, that's why he won. So there you go. Most Outstanding Wrestler, Kenny Omega, won the awards balloting this year, beating Kota Ibushi, and he actually won by quite a large margin, 503 first-place votes to Kota Ibushi's 175, and 3,600 votes total to Kota Ibushi's 1,900. For Most Outstanding Fighter of the Year, Daniel Cormier won, as he should have. He won second title win, 2 defenses of different titles in the same year, so he got the win there over Khabib, who came in second place, Amanda Nunes third, which is interesting. Amanda Nunes probably shouldn't have won Most Outstanding Fighter of the Year based on 2018, but Amanda Nunes, over the course of the last couple of years, pretty much cemented her legacy as the greatest female mixed martial artist of all time. Tag Team of the Year, Young Bucks. They beat Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi by nearly double in first place votes and over double in overall votes. And they beat Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong in third place. Another award here where it's going to be very difficult for the Young Bucks to win next year, largely as a result of the fact that they're also waiting for All Elite Wrestling to kick off. They won in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018. So looks like the streak is over as of this year. Best on Interviews, Daniel Bryan won. And interestingly enough, the top 3 winners in Best on Interviews all came from the company where interviews are scripted and everybody rants and raves about him. Daniel Bryan first place, Samoa Joe second place, Becky Lynch third place, Chris Jericho in fourth place. And I think Daniel Bryan is an excellent promo. He was an excellent babyface promo. He was an excellent heel promo. Samoa Joe was awesome. Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan, 2 guys where when you hear them cut promos, it doesn't sound like they're reading a scripted promo. And that's why they cut such great promos. So first and second, Becky Lynch, third place. Promotion of the Year, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Ran away with it. 1,038 first place votes. WWE got 42 first place votes to come in second place. 5,546 total votes for New Japan, 1,848 for WWE. Interesting that WWE came in second for Promotion of the Year. And later, under Worst Promotion, well, they came in first, but we'll get to that. Best Weekly TV Show, NXT ran away with it. 487 first-place votes, 4,000 votes total. Being the Elite, which is not even a television show, but did promote all of the All Elite Wrestling stuff and basically launched that promotion in some ways. They came in second place, 207 first-place votes, 1,794 total votes. For Pro Wrestling Match of the Year, Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, June 9th in Osaka, 4,623 total votes. Tanahashi versus Ibushi in Tokyo came in second place. And 2 Johnny Gargano matches. Gargano versus Andrade, which was awesome. And Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa, both fantastic matches. That came in third and fourth. Omega Ishii came in fifth. And just so many matches that got a number of votes that, unfortunately, because New Japan had so many great matches, a lot of votes split. So, there you go. The MMA Match of the Year, Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier in Glendale, Arizona. Yair Rodriguez, Chan Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie, second place. Tony Ferguson, Anthony Pettis in third place. And Category B awards, we'll get into in a moment, but it appears Mike Sempervive is here. Is that right?
I'm here. I don't even know what happened. I was sitting there. I was listening to a filthy Tom Lawler, filthy Ford Daly, and it just must have put me right to sleep.
Are you kidding me? You slept through the opening of this show?
It's terrible how that happens. It must have been way down from one of those chicken sandwiches you guys reviewed that I tried.
I love that you slept through the opening portion of this show, and you're blaming the filthy Tom Lawler show, as opposed to
be what it was.
You falling asleep.
Couldn't have been me. Could not have been me.
Any thoughts on these awards?
No.
Do you even know who won any of the awards? Were you sleeping?
I do. Kenny Omega won every single award.
He didn't win every single award.
For what I've heard. He's won them all by a landslide of victors. But no, it was heavy. It was a heavy New Japan year, and that's kind of how the results went. I'm a little bit surprised by some of them, like the Golden Lovers being the second most voted tag team when they only had about 10 matches last year. Yes, 2 of them were especially high profile. I'm a little bit surprised in that, but New Japan certainly is certainly amongst this readership was heavily followed and was heavily noted. So, I mean, they can be broken down a lot. I mean, there are some surprises, I guess, and there are some things that can easily be bantered about. But, I guess I will leave that to the people. Are the phone's ringing off the hook today?
No one's called yet, but I got a lot of text messages. Well. This person says WWE broke the Impact Wrestling 11-year record for the worst major promotion. Not surprised at all why. Yes, we'll go over the Category B awards after the break. But a couple of other comments right here. Had people very, very happy about Daniel Bryan winning Best on Interviews. So glad, this person said, that he won Best on Interviews. I personally voted him as the best promo guy as a subscriber myself. Man, it's been brilliant as both a babyface and a heel on the microphone. What I thought was the most funny is he's got an award named after him, and he didn't win it. But,
lost via landslide, in fact, of the man who did.
Well, I don't know about a landslide. He came in second. I mean,
well, yeah, but
the other guy did come in first, but still,
dude,
he did
Zack
come in
Sabre
second.
Jr. had 970 votes. Daniel Bryan had 37.
You know how many you got? 0. Back in a moment, everybody. Category B Awards. Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. All right, here's the Category B Awards, and we'll get into calls and feedback. U.S. Canada MVP, AJ Styles. Japanese MVP, Kenny Omega. Mexico MVP, LA Park. Europe MVP, Walter. Non-heavyweight MVP, Will Ospreay. Women's Wrestling MVP, Becky Lynch. Women's MMA MVP, Amanda Nunes. There we go. That's the new categories. Not a big fan of them.
So your favorites.
Yeah. Someone sent me from Social Suplex. They did a rundown of some of the awards and some of the various facts.
My man Rich.
Kenny Omega and Ishii were the only wrestlers to get votes in multiple regions. Omega finishing second in the U.S., barely losing to AJ, first in Japan, Ishii finishing fourth in Japan, sixth in Europe, and Suzuki finishing 10th in Europe. It's just, like, these guys wrestle all over the world. So, I don't know. I just think it's extra ballots for Dave to count, getting the Observer done at 3:45. I don't know. Best box office draw, Conor McGregor. We got Feud of the Year, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, which was followed by Khabib and Conor McGregor. One of them did it the right way. Most Improved, Adam Page, followed by everyone's favorite Jay White and the Velveteen Dream. There's a lot of names I can't believe aren't on this list, but that's another matter entirely. Most Charismatic, Naito, followed by Becky Lynch, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Bryan Danielson Award, Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Daniel Bryan. Got 37 votes. Bruiser Brody Memorial Award, Ishii won yet again. Pretty soon they're going to have to add him to the name of that award. Chris Jericho, coming in second. Best Brawler, here at, 48, 49 years old? And he had some incredible brawls.
Hey, look at it's not like there's spring chickens behind him as L.A. Park and Minoru Suzuki.
When you get to be my age, all you want to do is brawl. Forget all this jumping.
So what's happening with you then?
Best Flying Wrestler, Will Ospreay, beating Ricochet by an astounding number of votes. 560 votes for Ospreay. Ricochet got 186. Phoenix 182. Kota Ibushi 76, and it goes down from there.
New Japan got their voters came out in force.
And you know what? I'm not going to say it. I'll get everyone mad at me.
Yep.
What the hell? That's my job.
Good.
Io Shirai, number 7, over Dragon Lee. I mean, I understand. Have you... Listen, The whole point of the awards is like, it's the awards for 2018, okay? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. The majority of 2018, or at least half of 2018, she was in NXT. And she barely did any flying. And if I recall correctly, and I know I recall correctly because I pointed it out, like, she botched so many moves when she was flying around. She beat Dragon Lee? Whatever.
Bryan, I was watching old Mid-Atlantics on the network from 1982 and 1983, and at the beginning of 1983, they have a contest, who was most influential on 1982? And week after week, they keep having to tell fans, no, Terry Taylor hasn't been here that long. He's not what we're looking for as far as... Yeah, and it happens no matter when you get the public involved, and they're just going to do their thing.
Most overrated, Baron Corbin. Well, Baron Corbin, if you add up number 2 through number 10, Nia, Lesnar, how's Lesnar overrated? Strowman, Ambrose, Cody, Carmella, Shane McMahon, Seth Rollins, and Taichi, okay? If you add all of the rest of the top 10 up, they don't come near Baron Corbin's 597 votes for most overrated.
They do not.
Most underrated, Finn Balor. Lot of underrated names in that list right there. Rookie of the Year, Ronda Rousey. Yes, she was a rookie. Best non-wrestler, Paul Heyman.
Can I just let me just mention something here, because it will mean nothing to most people, but the name Utami Hayashishida,
she came in second.
A distant second to Ronda Rousey. She is a member of Stardom's roster. She is not as young as many of them have been when they have started, but she is very young. And already you see sparks there of nothing against Ronda Rousey, but Hayashishida will be around in pro wrestling far longer than Ronda Rousey will be, and she is very good already.
Let's talk about Marco Stunt coming in tied for 4th.
With Casey Cantazzaro, and they're around the same height. So
I would like to accept his thanks, everyone else's, for bringing him to prominence this year. Best non-wrestler, Paul Heyman. Best television announcer, Kevin Kelly. 0 announcers. Actually, Corey Graves from the main roster made it to number 6.
And people were bitching about it. Now,
he got 20 votes. I mean,
here's the thing.
There's 20 votes, dude.
So
he's got a family.
No, worst television announcer. Jonathan Coachman, not even close, right? 446 votes. So there's 10 people listed for best announcer. There's 10 people listed for worst announcer. There are 2 honorable mentions for worst. Not one vote on either side of the ledger ends up going to Ian Riccaboni, which boggles my mind. It is not the first year, apparently, that this has happened. It's epic when Colt Cabana and Shinpei Nogami get 30 votes combined between the two, and Ian does not get one. That is a sin, but as that was going on my timeline.
Hold on, we added these up a little while ago because someone was talking about the words. I'm not saying you're wrong, but when we did math, I seem to recall it was something like if someone got less than 10 votes, they weren't thrown into honorable mention. So it's possible that he got 9 votes.
And that would make sense, except for that would mean he only got 9 votes, and that is troubling to me in some ways. When 446 people would go out of their way to make Coachman the worst television announcer, when it comes though to Corey Graves, there were people who were just actively angry that Corey Graves, somebody thinks he's a better announcer than Tony Schiavone, or somebody thinks he's a better announcer.
They only watch Raw. Hello, but
it's like. Corey Graves isn't bad at his job. He's extremely good at his job. He comes across sometimes as an idiot, but of all of the people there, he's the worst. He's really the best. And if you put him in a situation, I mean, with his abilities, it's just unfair. I think it's kind of crazy that people hate, they're mixing up to me sometimes, I think, the guy who's on Twitter who they don't like, and the guy who's infinitely talented but is produced and is directed to be garbage.
Well, I think that the concern is that if you look at all of these names for best announcer, 20 people thought he was better than everyone else in all of professional wrestling. That's what that means. It's okay to say that he's not terrible and he's actually decent, but they make him terrible. But 20 people thought he was the best of everyone,
Bryan,
in every company
people. This is no
in the
offense.
world.
This is no offense because I think he's a great guy, and I appeared on his Eggshells podcast, and he had the book of the year, which we'll get to. But are you seriously? So by that, 38 people said Chris Charlton.
38 people did.
They did.
There's
double the amount of people for Tony Schiavone or Dominic Cruz, by the way.
Hey,
folks.
we'll get into some more of these. Best major show, New Japan Dominion. Worst major show, Crown Jewel.
Well.
Best wrestling maneuver, the One-Winged Angel.
Oh, come on.
Most disgusting promotional tactic, WWE business ties with Saudi Arabia. Followed by USADA handling of John Jones. Some real winners here this year. Worst TV show, Raw. I think if you add up all the votes for everything from 2 through 8 and multiply it by 10, it still is probably less than what Raw got. I'm not kidding. 902 votes for Raw. I'm actually going to do this. Luckily, I got a calculator here on my phone.
Oh, a count. You want
Shut
a
up,
counting
Mike.
machine.
So 30.
Here, 30 plus 26?
For Impact. Hold on, let me tell everybody everything got.
Oh,
Impact got 26, and AAA got 17, and Ring Warriors got 16, and Ring of Honor got 13, and 5-Star Wrestling got 8. So 110 votes. Raw got 902. So it almost...
Sport?
It almost... Oh, World Sport 13, I think I added that. But anyway, the point is, it almost... You could add all of them up and multiply them by 10, and they would not hit Raw. Almost, but not quite. It was like 8. Worst match of the year. This one I have a very big problem with. Undertaker and Kane versus Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
It was poo.
It wasn't good, but are you kidding me? Does no one watch wrestling? That was far from the worst match of the year.
Dude, look what number 2 is.
Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, Triple H in Melbourne, Asuka, Carmella, Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, Eli Drake and James Ellsworth, Jeff Hardy, Jinder Mahal, Shane McMahon, Dolph Ziggler, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Asuka versus Carmella. It's 2 Asuka Carmella matches, by the way. So when I was flipping my lid and saying, if I see one more Carmella match in the main event of SmackDown, I'm going to quit watching that show till she's no longer champion, apparently I was not just being a crazy guy.
And looking here at honorable mention, I want to congratulate you and Marco because you didn't end up in that list.
Get out of here. Charlotte and Carmella, there's another Carmella match in there. Did Carmella end up on this list more than anybody else?
Kind of looks like it, except maybe Roman Reigns, who's SummerSlam with Roman Reigns also made the list on honorable mention.
Worst feud of the year, Sasha versus Bayley. Well. Damn straight it was. I called that a year ago. Worst promotion, WWE, 612 votes. AAA down at 156. Impact, 141. What a comeback by Impact Wrestling. Best Booker, Ghetto.
Golden Boy MMA, by the way, folks. 11 votes for worst promotion of the year. I wonder if one of those was.
Promoter of the year, Takaaki Kadani. Vince McMahon got 45 people saying of all of the promotion in the world, Vince McMahon is the best promoter. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. This person says, so the B category is just completely abandoning any notion of not being a popularity contest. At least it's honest. Dude, all of the awards are a popularity contest. They're voting. You got all these people voting. And they're going to vote for what they think is the best and the worst. So, yeah, of course, it's a popularity contest. All of them. Every single award here is a popularity contest.
And this isn't like, one should be reminded again that this is not like a secret club. This is not the Hall of Fame balloting. These are just readers of the newsletter and of the website that vote on this, and it's just their temperature check. It's what it is.
Best gimmick, Velveteen Dream. Worst gimmick, Constable Corbin. Best pro wrestling book, Eggshells. Pro Wrestling in the Tokyo Dome, Chris Charlton. Best pro wrestling documentary, Andre the Giant on HBO. And that's it. Let's get everyone's feedback. You're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Bryan. Just wanted to call in today about these awards. First of all, I do agree with most of the things. I thought that Raw was pretty much by far the worst show of the year. At times, there was times that I was going to quit watching it, and I've been a fan since 2008, so that's a pretty big deal for me. The one award that I disagree on is the Baron Corbin being the most overrated. He was overrated, But I thought that the Dean turn was the most overrated in the sense that everybody thought that he was going to be one of the top heels in the company, and it just didn't work at all. Because most of the online reaction to Corbin was that nobody liked him. I didn't really see anybody thinking that, he was just like a really good heel or anything, like
sure.
they were saying Dean.
Well, I think I want to thank you very much for the call. I think the deal here is the way to look at most overrated is it's basically most over-pushed. Who got pushed way too hard based on their ability or whatever. And it's most over-pushed and most under-pushed, but it's called most overrated and most underrated. I mean, the Roman Reigns, leukemia, Dean Ambrose thing, I mean, that should have been, I didn't even look. Should be high in the voting for most disgusting promotional tactic. I'll see what else we've got here.
Well, I mean, like Ronda Rousey got 42 votes for most improved.
Only 9 people voted that. That's how much people hated Saudi Arabia.
Well, it was certainly the biggest one by far. So it doesn't surprise me too much. But, the improved. Did Adam Page really improve all that much? I think there are other people that probably made bigger career gains. But, it's, the flashier, the bigger name, the bigger group, the bigger unit tends to get more attention.
Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's happening?
Well, first off, I just discovered Filthy 4 Daily, and I think it's hilarious, and keep it up, guys. It's awesome.
Thank you. Check out the video.
He's got a mask.
He wore a mask.
I'm looking forward to seeing Tom smoke all the time, so there you go.
All right, what else you got?
But,
he is filthy.
Yeah, well, I was wondering, I kind of think Seth Rollins is a bit of a geek, and the reason I was thinking about it earlier is, he's talking about all the things that Brock Lesnar's faced, and then I was realizing, why doesn't he bring up their past WrestleMania match where he walked away with Brock's belt? How has that not come up one time in this whole storyline? You would think that would be a big storyline point.
Well, yeah, I want to thank you very much for the call. I mean, I think the difference is that when he won the belt, it was as a heel move. He basically stole the belt, and if I recall correctly, he stole it from Roman Reigns.
He did. They brought it up already.
Yeah, they did bring it up?
They brought it up they bantered about it with the stuff between Paul and Seth. They did note that, yes.
I see. All right. Well, there you go. So they have brought it up.
Yeah, now they're not going to beat it into the ground or anything like that. It's the same way I don't think they're going to beat in, they may mention Batista's win over Triple H at WrestleMania, but they're not going to beat the Extreme Rules thing into the ground. But I did have somebody, and I know because I know this annoys you, is Extreme Rules coming up directly after WrestleMania this year?
I don't know, because there was no WWE pay-per-view scheduled the last time I looked.
I say let's just say it is. Can you handle, because they'll need something for that pay-per-view and because of what it's titled? If they do, it would make more sense to do it at Mania for a lot of different reasons, but it's too late now. But if they decided to build to Rey and Andrade for that event, would you still be happy?
That's fine.
Okay.
As long as I get my match. As long as Rey never wears that outfit again.
Oh my God, the S&M outfit or whatever that was?
Yes, he may have lost a bet. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air.
Hey boys, how are you?
What's going on?
What's up, man?
What's up? I really thought the Booker of the Year, I would have given it to Triple H of what he's done with NXT. I don't think there's been one bad takeover, and I'm really surprised that he didn't get Booker of the Year.
Well, Ghetto also had an awesome
with the takeover.
That's the deal.
Yeah,
they both had a great year.
And they really did. It should be 1A and 1B. That's why I think sometimes the awards are. It's hard to really tell who's gonna come out on top. But I mean, what he's done with the takeovers and this year's takeover seems to, without giving anything away, it seems to be just it's gonna outdo Mania again, and it's really hard for Mania to live up to takeover. And just kind of want your thoughts on that.
Well, I want to thank you very much for the call. So if you don't know everybody, this is not a spoiler. I mean, I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but I'm not going to tell you one. No tournament to determine a challenger for Johnny Gargano, and no ladder match. Instead, they did, I believe it was a fatal 5-way on the NXT television tapings, and you'll see it in a couple of weeks. And the winner of the fatal 5-way ends up getting the shot against Gargano in a one-on-one match for the title. So that is
when can we say what it is?
They decided to do once it airs on television. I mean, we could say spoiler alert here, but
sakes.
There's plenty of other awards things here. We don't have to make people mad. Where did Taichi rank in most overrated?
We could.
Number 10 is where he ranked. Number 10.
Yeah.
Taichi got number 10. Person here says the worst.
Let me note this because
Yes.
I don't know if how many people are going to bring it up. Probably no one. But mentioned the Eggshells book, very good. Pro Wrestling in the Tokyo Dome by Chris Charlton. Number 2, Death of the Territories by Tim Hornbaker. The reason I want to note that book is if you are relatively new to the game and you want a nice, handy, concise reference tool on how things went business-wise for WWF and as a result, everyone else throughout the, it gives you some backstories, but throughout the 80s and how WWF grew their business and grew to take out these other groups, it is the perfect book for that. From how WWF took over television stations in local markets and the way the whole book flows, it rolls in a row, and it's one of those books. I dare say it's essential if you're a historical fan of pro wrestling to make sure that you have this book. He's done a couple others, including Capital Revolution and the NWA book, which is another must-have book if you're in the history of the business. But that Death of the Territories book is a very easy read, and it makes things very, very simple for somebody who's coming along wanting to get into history and wondering how we got here.
Worst Match of the Year award should be changed to Biggest Letdown of the Year, because most of the vote getters are top-name wrestlers that had bad matches, but there's no way that these were the worst matches of the year. Any local indie or Nia Jax will attest to that. I don't think local indies count. It's got to be on a bigger stage. But yes, there were far worse matches than some of them that placed high.
Well, I think it counts if enough people see it, but I mean, if not enough people see it, it's not going to get the votes, because I'm sure next year or whenever it happens, I'm sure Priscilla Kelly is going to get a handful of votes for like worst gimmick or anything like that, because people remember the 2 incidents she had at the end of last year / the beginning of this year, whatever it is. It's in this upcoming voting, schedule. But if she does nothing else for the rest of the year, is anybody going to remember it?
Person says Money in the Bank is the pay-per-view after Mania this year in May. Backlash June, Extreme Rules is in July.
Yeah.
God, by July, everything's going to be changed. Person says, I'm so happy Jonathan Coachman has been recognized for his awful, awful announcing. Also doesn't understand why Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar at Mania is number 2 for worst match of the year. Well, if you take into account everything, I mean, they worked their asses off in the ring, and in a vacuum, it wasn't a bad match, but boy, oh boy. The fans turned that into one of the worst matches I ever saw. Person says, as a reader, I want ballots revoked for anyone who voted Brock Lesnar overrated. Well, there are a lot of people that for some reason, despite being Observer subscribers, listeners, etc., they still believe that Brock doesn't want to come to work. Well, even though that's 150% absolutely a storyline. He'll come to work anytime they ask him to, but the storyline is he won't, to make you mad at him. To get Roman Reigns over, which didn't work and resulted in number 2 in the worst match of the year, which, by the way, I predicted.
You say that, but maybe they just don't like Brock Lesnar, and maybe they think he's overrated. Maybe they think since he never shows up on TV, and if enough money came in from UFC, he would dance his way over there. I mean, I don't hold that against people as much as you do about like the thing with Brock Lesnar, or, making fun of them for thinking they don't want to be there. I mean, that was the storyline. And you do have Dave who talks about, when you talk about Brock Lesnar, it's like, what does Brock really want to do? Is his heart in pro wrestling the same way a Batista's is? Not really, no. So if they're already not looking at him
on the Raw roster, I could go down that list. There's a lot of guys whose heart's in pro wrestling right now.
Well,
he's far from the only one. And he gives it his all when he's there. There's some other people whose heart isn't into pro wrestling, and they're very, very different than they were a couple of years ago in the ring. So I got to give the guy that. Person says, interesting to see Grand Metalik come in second, most underrated. With only 50 matches in 2018, almost zero mainstream exposure, it seems Dave's constant praise of him got into the voters' heads.
What?
Or it's the fact that he is the second most underrated because he's one of the best workers in the company. They do nothing with him.
I was going to say...
That's why he's underrated, because he had 50 matches.
And Andrade are sitting right there. There's how many fans that are Mexican wrestling and lucha libre is their first love, who read The Observer, who sit there and look at those two guys on the roster, and Andrade for much of his run there, even though they've done some good things with him at times on SmackDown. I mean, you look at that, it's like, yeah, look how they've been used. They've been used like trash. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. I don't think that's I mean, I don't know. I guess somebody's saying that about Dave when he comes to New Japan, when he comes to Kenny Omega and the awards he won and all that stuff, and they're saying that everything got wagged that way. I don't think Metalik or Andrade would be a sign of that.
Bert says, I was watching the Figure 4 Daily at a vision I hope does not come true. All these smaller storylines like Rey Andrade, Cena Truth will end up paying off for the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Kurt Hawkins to finally get a win by winning the Battle Royal. Not impossible, dude. Not impossible. I don't know what they're going to do, but not impossible. The person here says, taking into account the decent Raw and SmackDown ratings this week, I expect Daylight Savings Time to win the MVP award for 2019. Well, the problem is he's going to come back around again in the fall, and then he will end up losing out on his MVP award. Especially when they go to SmackDown. SmackDown combined with Daylight Savings Time, it's going to be rough. In light of yesterday's Geek of the Week award being given to Rey Mysterio over his outfit, I'd like to point out that his outfit was not white, but a flesh tone color, which in my opinion looked worse.
Yes.
Here's the problem, my friend. Don't get me talking about spandex again, but I'm gonna.
Uh-huh.
So, here's the thing. Like, if you wear flesh-colored spandex, you do in fact look nude, okay? But if you wear white spandex, you not only look nude, but dead. Like, ridiculously pale. So, in my opinion, white spandex on a male wrestler is significantly worse than flesh-colored. I mean, they both suck, don't get me wrong. But Rey's white or flesh-colored outfit with a thong painted on it, I was like, was I really the only guy that noticed that? It's crazy. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Well, you knew we had one of these before we go. Hi guys, big fan, but the words are a joke. I know you don't love WWE, but the bias is amazing. How can New Japan be best? They sell 1,600 tickets for G1. No one talking about their Madison Square Garden show. No one talking about New Japan Cup. How can they be best when they're not even being talked about beside match quality, which is opinion? How on God green earth are they the best when they can't draw WWE in any way, shape, or form? Thanks, guys. Well, my friend, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, there's this thing that's called the Tokyo Dome, and they did a lot of sellouts last year, and people love their shows. The booking is great. I mean, for crying out loud. You're going to talk about 1,600 for the G1 Super Show. Have you seen SmackDown lately?
Yeah, really.
The G1, the Madison Square Garden show sold out instantly. Instantly! For Madison Square Garden. I went to SmackDown here. There was like 2,000 people here. So, I mean, I don't even know why I'm responding to this.
I don't know.
It's not bias anyway. It's voting. You are welcome to vote, too, if you're a subscriber.
It's a crazy thing that people watch more than just WWE. It's crazy, you know? A lot of people got votes who weren't in WWE. How dare they? How dare they?
This person here says, are the awards fan-voted or by insiders like the Hall of Fame? Hall of Fame is specific balloting to specific people. The awards are everybody. Everybody who is a subscriber to Figure4Online.com, WrestlingObserver.com, the Wrestling Observer, you're all allowed to vote. They're fan-voted awards. So that is, yes, different from the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. Those are not fan-voted awards. Although everyone who votes, of course, is a fan. We're out of time, everybody. In a moment, I'll be recording with Dave, another show in the Hall of Fame, the rest of the news, and everything else. So you can check that out later today at WrestlingObserver.com. And that is it from here. Thanks, Mike, as always, callers and listeners, everybody in the studio. Talk to you again tomorrow, Wrestling Observer Live.